that in many cases they have made recommendations, the DP has invoked their constitutional power and decided not to pursue prosecution of cases. And in some cases, Mr. Speaker, the ODPP initiates prosecution and along the way drops prosecution, does annul prosecution, and you see the Constitution gives them that power. However, Mr. Speaker, we were informed by Senior Counsel Okongo Mogeni that under the ODPP Act, Parliament has the power to demand a report on any matter from the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution. Mr. Speaker, we are going to invoke that power, and we are going to invite the ODPP, and we are going to ask for an explanation on some of the issues that have been cited as contentious, or issues that have been withdrawn where the evidence prima facie exists and where some actions appear as if they're done out of political expedience. And so we must also ensure that our partners, implementing partners, also do the right thing. I wish this Parliament had a police cell somewhere where we could issue orders directly to detain persons who perhaps demonstrate contempt to Parliament or who lie under oath. Mr. Speaker, a lot of people who come before Parliament lie through their teeth. I remember one governor launching a county headquarters and sitting on the chair and starting operations. And when he came before my committee, under oath, he swore that that facility is not working. And yet, we had information in the public domain to that effect. I wish we had the power to deal with those things instantly. I wish that the amendments by Senator Osotsi could see the light of day so that we can strengthen the penalties and the consequences of non-cooperation or contempt of Parliament or lying before Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I conclude by recommending that this House passes this bill, but let us also not forget to strengthen our small brothers in the counties called the county assemblies. Because at Senate, we can talk of oversight, we can talk public participation, but at the micro level, that exercise is conducted by members of the county assembly. I am glad we have provided them with financial autonomy, and so that should allow them to budget, so that every bill that comes before them, they can sponsor public participation without going to the executive to sponsor that exercise. So let's strengthen our county assemblies, let's strengthen the institutions, and let's live true to some of the ideals that the late Raila Odinga had espoused when he came before this House. Devolution is work in progress. It is not possible to get it right in a period of 15 years. And so now more than ever, we as members of the Senate, we must make sure that we are actively involved in oversight. Oversight is not for park and pick. Every member of this Senate, be it delegated legislation, be it rules, powers, and privileges, if you sit in a committee of the Senate, you are an overseer at an institutional level, but also individually, you've got a responsibility to go back to your county to oversight. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I support.
Thank you. Senator Samson Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity. I want from the onset to congratulate the distinguished senator, Senator Ledama Olekina, for breathing life to Article 96 of the Constitution 2010 on the role of the Senate, and co-sponsor Senator Kisang for this wonderful county oversight and accountability 2024. So, Speaker, this is one of the ways we can continue to celebrate and entrench the legacy of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, because he's the father of devolution. Even, Mr. Speaker, as we celebrate his legacy, he is proud that today we continue to entrench, broaden, and expand the role of devolution through putting in place the necessary legislative intervention, both legislation and policy, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, unfortunately, I was not there when the House convened upon his demise, Mr. Speaker. This is the only way, and I want to thank Senator Ledama Olekina. Mr. Speaker, can I be protected?
Senator Faki.
Mr. Speaker.
Let's listen to the Senator.
Yes,
Proceed.
this is the only way the legacy of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga can live on. Let us envisage, let us protect devolution, Mr. Speaker. I know the Constitution 2010 is to ensure things works in Garissa. Baba will only be remembered, Mr. Speaker, when water is available in Garissa town. Baba will only be remembered, Mr. Speaker, when there is drugs in Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. Baba will only be remembered, Mr. Speaker, when the roads are passable in Vihiga County, where the ODM deputy party leader comes from. Baba will only be happy, Mr. Speaker, when potato will be processed, the commercial crop from Nyandarua, Mr. Speaker. He will only be happy when we expand and develop, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I celebrate Senator Ledama for this wonderful legislation. I hope we can breathe life. Mr. Speaker, the issue of oversight in counties has been reduced to political competition. We need to give it life, Mr. Speaker. We need to give it life. Mr. Speaker, I'm mentioning devolution because Raila Amolo Odinga, Mr. Speaker, was the father of devolution. I know he fought for human rights. He fought for rule of law, Mr. Speaker. He fought against police brutality. There was a statement that was brought today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I speak today, no rogue police officer has been arrested for the killings of more than 3 people in Kimwani area in Nandi County and scores that were injured, Mr. Speaker. Even during the day here in Kasarani, Mr. Speaker, and I hope the National Security Committee, I'm not seeing any member, should fast track, Mr. Speaker, and call out IPOA for not doing their job, Mr. Speaker. So I want to say we celebrate him for many things: devolution, rule of law, against police brutality, Mr. Speaker, against the abuses of human rights. These are the laws that can give opportunity, Mr. Speaker. He fought for the space, political space. That's why you find Senator Okongo Mugeni can speak and undermine the president wherever he is, because that space was fought by the president, Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order, Senator Mugeni?
The senator for Nandi, my good friend and my junior in the profession, putting it on record, Mr. Speaker, that I'm a rogue senator. That's what you have said. That's what he has said. And he has used very unparliamentary words. I've not against President Ruto. The most I've done, Mr. Speaker, is to put him to account, Mr. Speaker, on the failed promises to the people of Kenya. And that's the space that Raila Odinga fought for us to have. The Speaker, what is wrong, Mr. Speaker, when I go to Nyamira and question that the president promised tea farmers bonus of 50 shillings and they were given 12 shillings. What is unconstitutional? What is wrong about that, Mr. Speaker? When I tell my people that SHA is not working, and it is the president who should be telling us why it's not working, what is wrong with that, Mr. Speaker? Yeah, so, Mr. Speaker, you should not allow the senator for Nandi, Mr. Speaker, to create wrong impression about my work as senator for Nyamira, Mr. Speaker. As I'm speaking, Mr. Speaker, I can produce a list of patients who are in hospitals, who have gone to hospitals and SHA is not working. When we state those things here, we are stating facts, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, can you withdraw the word he has used and apologize?
Senator Mugeni, I don't think Senator Cherargei referred to you as a rogue senator. No.
President, we can print it. He said, I'm undermining the President of the Republic. You know, that borders on a criminal conduct on my part. He said, I'm undermining, Mr. Speaker. Can you substantiate and tell the country how I've undermined the President of the Republic, Mr. Speaker? That is not correct, Mr. Speaker. I've said the only things I've done on the ground is just to tell my people the reality, the truth on what is happening, Mr. Speaker. So you cannot tell the country that I'm undermining the president. What will my children think when a lawyer like Cherargei is telling the country that I'm undermining the president, Mr. Speaker? You cannot allow that to be on record. And he says I'm roguish. How? Mr. Speaker, on a day that we are celebrating the life of a great man like Raila Amolo Odinga. Mr. Speaker, we cannot allow that.
Senator Mogeni, I had not finished. The what under Senator Cherargei, did you use the word undermining? If you did, you need to withdraw and apologize.
Mr. Speaker, you have seen that the learned senior is confused because I never used the word wrong. He was just by. No, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, can I be protected? You know, I heard him. I heard him when he was speaking. Can I be protected? Can I be protected?
Senator.
Can I substitute?
Senator Cherargei. Yeah.
Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Let me rephrase by saying he is misleading the House.
Withdraw, confused.
The word confused.
And withdraw undermining the president.
But, Mr. Speaker, if we draw English words, what will be speaking on the floor? Mr. Speaker, let me say the following. I have said I have used the word misleading. Misleading. I have withdrawn, Senator. I have withdrawn. I have withdrawn. You know what interesting thing, Mr. Speaker, is he was just walking behind you. He didn't listen. So I want to call upon colleagues to listen to what I'm saying. Just listen. Even the issue of T-bonuses, we are with you. But we are saying, I was just explaining, Mr. Speaker, and I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, you are an active listener. I was saying the space that people like Senator Omogeni Senior Counsel are enjoying is courtesy of Baba Raila Amolo Odinga. He expanded the space. That is why you can call out anybody at any given time, regardless of who they are, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, that is why I was arguing that the fact that devolution, Mr. Speaker, and I request that I should be heard in silence, that, Mr. Speaker, I don't know what is wrong with Senator Metu. He's a heckler like his party leader.
Senator Methu, let the senator be heard. Order. Order, Senator. Proceed, Cherargei.
The party leader, DCP, party leader, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I was saying even the issue of police brutality, it was unfortunate that we lost lives, Mr. Speaker. And you know this, you saw the Minister of Interior and the police running like headless chicken within Kasarani Stadium. And they had one pencil, Mr. Speaker, a trouser called pencil, Mr. Speaker. We are Kalenjins, we know how to dress. I saw a content creator saying we don't know how to dress. Some of us are good at dressers, like our Luo brothers, Mr. Speaker. We normally know how to dress smartly. Mr. Speaker, like Senator Moses Kajwang. Mr. Speaker, it is him who wears the pencil trousers and he was running around and he didn't prevent those accidents. No, Mr. Speaker, I'm saying there was a content creator that was accusing someone that they have worn pencil trousers. I'm saying we are smartly dressed. We know how to dress like our Luo brothers. It's only one person who was running around in the stadium who was wearing pencil trousers, Mr. Speaker, and it was very unfortunate. Mr. Speaker, the second point I want to drive home.
What is your point of order, Senator Joyce?
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I've heard Cherargei lamenting every now and then about the dress code of the CS and how he was behaving during yeah, Honorable Speaker, and talking about it's true there was an incident that happened, but the security team was there. Honorable Speaker, is it in order to discuss the CS in the floor of this House without a substantive...
Senator Methu, order. Order, Senator Methu. You were not on a point of order. Senator Cherargei, could you please stop implying about individuals who are not in this House to defend themselves? Just proceed to make your submissions.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, I remember you are ruling very well at Standing Order 103 on contents of speech. I didn't mention any name. I suspect the senator the distinguished nominated senator from Bomet might have been in Chebalungu Forest. And then he realized he just came out from nowhere and started saying that I was discussing an individual, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, that is why I wanted to say the following on this bill.
What's
Mr.
your point
Speaker.
of order, Senator Joyce?
Honorable Speaker, I think Cherargei is going astray in terms of articulating his issues. Honorable Speaker, it's known by even the paper class peoples in this country that the CS of security is who in this country. So you cannot, and even the TikTok, yeah, is known, it was referred to who. So is he not the Honorable Speaker? Even referring me that I've been in the bush, Honorable Speaker. Are we in the bush or we are in the Senate sitting, Honorable Speaker?
Senator Faki, what is your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I heard Senator Joyce quoting TikTok. Is TikTok an authentic reference in this House?
Yes, Senator Joyce.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Of course, you understand the difference between myself and the distinguished senator, and you know the forms of is asking the forms of communication that you can use. We have the TikTok, we have the Facebook, we have the WhatsApp. All those are forms. Unless he's not aware, he can come see me behind the tent after this session. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, proceed to make your submissions without referring or implying about anybody.
Mr. Speaker, I have been very careful as per Standing Order 103 and also 101 on contents of speech and also your ruling. I have not mentioned individuals. But they say the guilty are always afraid, Mr. Speaker. And I think some people want to do content creation of TikTok. Emphasize that Article 96 should be given where governors, Mr. Speaker, and I just make two comments. One is on the issue of public participation. Mr. Speaker, you remember where Kiambu finance bill was outlawed or ruled unconstitutional by the courts of law. I want to believe that is where Senator Ledama, Mr. Speaker, how can my time be expired? I've not even spoken. Mr. Speaker. No, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, you still have 5 more minutes.
But Mr. Speaker, there must be Jose Carmago somewhere who is eating my time. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make 2 pregnant points. One, Mr. Speaker, is the public participation has been made a decision. And I want to thank Senator Ledama because the courts have ruled that even any decisions that you make, and the senior counsel is here, that any decision that you make without the public input, that decision is not only legal but unconstitutional. So I agree there should be forums to discuss, Mr. Speaker. We were with my chair of PAC when we visited Busia County Referral Hospital. They don't have a working ambulance, just a working ambulance, let alone even drugs. And if you are to call a public meeting somewhere in Busia town, they would have told you we want an ambulance. But the governor decided to renovate a launch. You know what launch are used for, Mr. Speaker? Launches are used to take tea and mandazi, Mr. Speaker, and take the uji that former President Uhuru Kenyatta referred to. That is launch instead of getting an ambulance. So I agree that we must have a public participation, Mr. Speaker, to prioritize what they need to do, Mr. Speaker. That is what is important. So that when you go to Kobujai, when you go to Kaptumo, when you go to Kabiyet, when you go to Maraba in Tindre, Mr. Speaker, when you come to Chesume, Chemundu, Mr. Speaker, when you ask the residents of Nandi, what is your priority? As we talk today, the priority is roads. We have most pathetic roads in the Republic of Kenya in Nandi County. And mostly of those roads are managed by county government of Nandi, led by Sangmal administration, Mr. Speaker. These are some of the challenges that we hope when we have proper accountability and oversight will give value, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we are lucky Just what about tea? We get cess from tea, we get cess from sugarcane, Mr. Speaker. That can allow us to fix our roads, Mr. Speaker. We must agree that as a country, we need proper public participation so that it becomes more easier, Mr. Speaker, to fix most of these roads that are not passable. Mr. Speaker, you saw Kericho County Referral Hospital. It has been locked for some time, Mr. Speaker. No one is accessing that referral hospital. Was the public participation done in Kericho to ask the people, can you lock down an hospital, Mr. Speaker? These are some of the critical aspects we must do in public participation, Mr. Speaker. I know public participation has been misinterpreted. I have seen my distinguished colleagues, they go to public rallies and they are saying they are doing public participation. Whether to elect somebody for first term or second term, Mr. Speaker, it is good that they will get a law so that before they do those public participation they are calling in some of the villages and rallies, Mr. Speaker, they know what they are doing in, Mr. Speaker. And number two, I agree that we should have a format. Say that today we can go to Nyandarua, we can go to Bomet, we can go to Bungoma, we can go to Kirinyaga and request the public participation notes on finance bill of 2025 in Kirinyaga or even Garissa, Mr. Speaker. If today you are in Garissa town, Mr. Speaker, and ask them, they will say we need water. Mr. Speaker, they will say we need water. That is what is important as we talk into the future, Mr. Speaker. Even on this issue of county oversight, we don't need to reduce it to political competition. Say that when you question, when normally I question my governor, you ask him why the road is not passed, they will say you are doing politics. When you ask if there are no drugs, you are not doing politics, Mr. Speaker. We must divorce public political competition of the day and proper accountability and oversight so that we can, when we went to Luanda, I think the issue of markets in Vihiga, when Senator Otosi led us, Mr. Speaker, it was a genuine concern that they need a proper working market, they need public washrooms, Mr. Speaker, they need somewhere to use, Mr. Speaker, for efficiency, because they pay tax, Mr. Speaker. And we say in Kiswahili, kulipa ushuru ni kujitegemea. Which value? Senator Ledama, the power that counties have been given to levies, Mr. Speaker, which value are they going, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, if you can add me 2 minutes to take care of disruptions, just...
Adding 2 minutes.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I don't know, Senator Medu has been, he has a Wamunyoros's disease, Mr. Speaker, and that is why I was just driving the point hot and dry by saying what Senator Ledama has done is to give effect. We need to agree even in this issue of Senate Oversight Fund. My own opinion, this is my last remark, Mr. Speaker, for the day. We need, instead, Senator Ledama, instead of creating Senate Oversight Fund, can we give Senate capacity and ability to do proper oversight? Like getting project managers, auditors, researchers, giving officers in every sub-county, getting them what we call social auditors, not only financial auditors, Mr. Speaker. Let us give the office of the senator capacity and ability. It's not about funds. So that when I go and visit Kapsengere Hospital somewhere in Terik Ward, or I visit Kobujoy, next to Governor Sang home, which I was told for some time, and I say, where is the public works report? I can go with my researcher and they can brief me. Mr. Speaker, in Kabiet, there is a creamery that has been constructed that has consumed more than 1 billion Kenya shillings. Yet we know ordinary factories will consume 250 million. And somebody who is constructing is a good friend of the Senator Majority Leader, might know the name. So at the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, we must, Nande creameries, Mr. Speaker, we must give the capacity and ability for the office of the senator to do proper oversight, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to congratulate, because in the interest of my colleagues, and support this bill, and we shall vote it and ensure that the lower house agrees with us and can be sent to the act of law. Congratulations, Senator Ledama, and we wish you well.
Senator Mungatana is not here. Senator John Methu. My apologies, Methu. We're supposed to go on this side.
No, it's okay,
Senator Faki.
No problem.
Pole,
You have
my
already called me
apologies.
speaker.
No, my apologies.
No, I can speak, then Faki will come.
Let Faki
We have
speak,
agreed
then
with him.
you'll speak.
The speaker.
You'll speak next. Take a seat.
Methu.
Senator Faki.
Methu kidogo angalia umri pia. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii kuchangia mswada wa sheria ya oversight ambayo imeletwa bungeni na Seneta Ledama Olekina ambaye ni kiranja wetu katika upande wa walio wachache, Seneta Kisang, Seneta Gatuzi la Igoe Marakwet. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza nimeona kwamba oversight ndio ile ambayo tunaweza kusema ni sehemu finyu katika maendeleo ya ugatuzi. Wazungu wanasema weakest link katika masuala ya ugatuzi, kwa sababu mara nyingi hapa katika bunge la Senate huwa tunafanya postmortem, ama ukaguzi baada ya mambo yashaharibika. Nimesikia kilio cha mwenyekiti wa kamati ya uhasibu Senator Kajwang kusema kwamba mara nyingi wakija wale farasi huwa washatoka katika zizi, na sasa ibakia kutafuta na kulaumu ni nani ambaye alisababisha farasi wale kukimbia katika zizi. Mheshimiwa Spika, fedha ambayo tumeweza kupewa ya oversight imeweza kusaidia pakubwa kuleta mwamko katika magatuzi yetu. Katika kaunti ya Mombasa tuliweza kuzuru wodi zote 30 na tukafanya, lakini ukifika katika wote ambao umeweza kufanyika. Mheshimiwa Spika, hivi sasa tunavyosema ni kuwa hata County Assembly ya Mombasa imeweza pia kushika nguvu na kuweza kuamka kuanza kuuliza maswali magumu ambayo serikali ya kaunti inapaswa kujibu. Kwa mfano, Mheshimiwa Spika, hivi majuzi kamati ya mazingira ya Assembly ya Mombasa wameweza kumuita waziri wa maji na mazingira kuweza kueleza mipango ambao wamefanya, hata wakatoa zabuni ya bilioni 17 kuhusiana na masuala ya takataka katika eneo la Mombasa. Mheshimiwa Spika, hiyo hapo nyuma ilikuwa haiwezekani kwa sababu mara nyingi wabunge wa bunge la county ni wanyonge kwa sababu wanategemea county government iweze kuwapa miradi, inategemea county government iweze kuwasaidia kwa mambo madogo. Hivyo basi kujaza ama kutoa maoni kuhusiana na yale yanayofanyika katika serikali zile za county inakuwa ni vigumu. Kwa Mheshimiwa Spika, sheria hii itaweza kutoa nafasi ya masuala ya ugatuzi ili kwa oversight ili kuhakikisha kwamba ugatuzi unafaulu katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia katika masuala ya kila nyanja, kwa mfano kamati yangu ya ardhi hivi sasa inaangalia masuala ya floka. Ukiangalia yale mambo ambayo yamezungumziwa katika mipango ya floka katika kaunti nyingi ni tofauti na yale ambayo yanafanyika katika kule mashinani. Utaambiwa kwamba kumefanyika, kama wajuzi Busia tuliambiwa kwamba kuna mradi wa Changara Water ulifanyika, lakini tukifika miaka 6 hivi sasa kutoka mradi huo usemekano umefanyika, hakuna chochote katika pale mashinani maeneo ya Changara ambao tuweza kusema zile pesa zilizotarajiwa kutumika zimeweza kutumika kuhakikisha kwamba wananchi wa eneo lile wanapata maji. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, lazima masuala ya oversight sisi kama maseneta tuwe proactive, lazima tuwe mashinani kuweza kuangalia ni mambo gani ambayo yanafanyika, kwa sababu mengine yanafanyika ni dhulma kwa wananchi wetu katika maeneo yale. Mheshimiwa Spika, ukiangalia masuala ya uajiri, juzi Mombasa imeajiri wafanyakazi 628, lakini tulipowauliza ni wangapi kati ya wale ambao wameajiriwa ni walemavu, kulikuwa hakuna jawabu lolote lililotokea Mheshimiwa Spika. Na vile vile utapata kwamba mara nyingi magatuzi zetu hizi serikali za kaunti zinaongeza makadirio yao ya ile on source revenue. Zile pesa ambazo wanaokota katika maeneo yao wanaziongeza. Kwa mfano kama walio mwaka huu wamekusanya bilioni 2 ili hatujui wale wafanyaji kazi wanafanya nini hata waweze kuwa wanachukua nusu ya mapato kwenda kwenye mishahara. Kwa hivyo utapata Mheshimiwa Spika kwamba wanaongeza makadirio yao ya mapato kwenda kwenye mishahara. Kwa hivyo utapata Mheshimiwa Spika kwamba wanaongeza makadirio yao ya mapato ili waweze kuongeza kuajiri watu, na watu wale wengine ndio wanatumika kubeba majukwaa, kubeba viti, kubeba mkoba wa gavana na mengineo kama hayo. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiingilia oversight na tuangalie kisawasawa vile kaunti zetu zinavyofanya kazi, Mheshimiwa Spika, tutaweza kupata manufaa mengi ya ugatuzi. Zile pesa ambazo zinatumika na kufujwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, zinaweza kutumika kununua madawa katika mahospitali na zahanati zetu, yanaweza kutumika kuajiri madaktari, inaweza kutumika kutoa vifaa vya kisasa na kupunguza gharama ya maisha katika gatuzi zetu. Mheshimiwa Spika, tukiangalia unyonge ambao uko katika county assembly zetu, inamaanisha kwamba ipo haja sisi kama Senate kuweza kusimama zaidi ili kuona kwamba kazi zinafanyika katika kaunti zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, juzi tulipokuwa Busia tulipata fursa ya kuangalia madeni ya kaunti ya Busia. Na jambo la kusikitisha Mheshimiwa Spika ni kwamba katika assembly ya Busia walikuwa wadaiwa shilingi milioni 628 kufikia tarehe 30 mwezi Juni mwaka huu. Hesabu hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika ni karibu ni 80% ya yale mapato yao ambayo wanatakana kupata kila mwaka. Sasa tuangalie Mheshimiwa Spika, pesa hizi zitaweza kulipwa vipi? Nitachukua miaka mingapi kuweza kukamilika kule? Kwa sababu wanachopata hakizidi milioni 800, lakini madeni ni milioni 628. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ni lazima tuweze kuongeza juhudi zetu katika masuala ya ugatuzi. Jambo la pili Mheshimiwa Spika ni kwamba mambo ya kuhusisha umma. Nimesikitishwa na malalamiko ya kiongozi wa wengi kwamba mahakama zinaingilia kazi ya bunge. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, mahakama zina haki ya kuamua sheria kulingana na katiba. Iwapo kuna ushahidi kwamba bunge la kitaifa liliweza kufanya ushirikishi wa umma, waweza kupeleka mahakamani na mahakama itaweza kuondoa amri zozote ambazo zimeweza kutolewa ambazo kwa sasa zinazuia sheria ile kutumika. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, haiwezekani kwamba sheria imepitishwa na sheria ile basi iwe haiwezi kukosolewa kwa njia yoyote. Tunajua saa nyingine bunge linaweza kupitisha sheria, wengine wakasema sisi hatujui, kama juzi tuliona katika vyombo vya habari baadhi ya wabunge wakisema kwamba sisi hatukuona sheria hiyo. Kama Mheshimiwa Kisali yule women rep wa Kitui alisema kwamba hakuona hiyo sheria katika bunge la kitaifa ikipelekwa. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, ni mambo ambayo yanaweza kutendeka, ndio maana mahakama ziko pale kuweza kuona kwamba zinaamua haki baina ya taasisi za serikali na vile vile baina ya wananchi kwa wananchi, wapo wana mizozo yao wenyewe ya kibiashara ama ya kifamilia. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, hii sheria ya ushirikishi umma ni muhimu sana katika dini yetu, kwa sababu mambo mengi sasa ni katiba inasema kwamba chochote kitakachofanyika, sheria yote ambayo itapitishwa lazima ipitie ushirikishi wa umma. Kwa hivyo lazima tuwe na sheria ambayo inaweza kutoa mwongozo kuhusiana na yale ambayo yanatakana kufanyika katika ushirikishi wa umma. Mahakama hivi juzi zimeweza kusema kwamba chochote kitakachofanyika katika ushirikishi wa umma kinaweza kutosheleza. Lakini Mheshimiwa Spika, ipo ya kuwa na sheria ya kimsingi, kwa sababu wakati kwa mfano tunazungumzia masuala ya uvuvi, masuala ya uvuvi, sheria inahusiana na masuala ya uvuvi kule Migori. Hatuwezi kuchukua sheria ile tuwapelekee wanaokuza mgokaa Embu ili waulizwe kama sheria ile itawaathiri kivipi. Ni lazima wale ambao wanashirikishwa kupitisha kuhusiana na sheria ile, wale ambao wanapitishwa lazima niwe ni watu ambao wale tunaweza kuita stakeholders, wale ambao wanadau, washikadau katika sekta ile, ili kuonekana kwamba ile sheria inaangalia kikamilifu yale masuala ambayo inatakana kuangalia kutokana na ushirikishi wa washikadau. Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa kumalizia, nichukue fursa hii kwamba ugatuzi utaweza kufanya kazi ikiwa kutakuwa na uwajibikaji na masuala ya accountability. Bila hivyo, Mheshimiwa Spika, itakuwa kila mwaka fedha zinakwenda katika magatuzi yetu, fedha zile zinaishia mifukoni mwa magavana na mawaziri na matapeli wengine ambao wanafanya kazi katika kaunti zile. Mheshimiwa Spika, hiyo ni masikitiko na itakuwa ni kinyume cha ndoto ya mwenda zake Raila Amolo Odinga, ambaye yeye ndiye alikuwa baba wa ugatuzi katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii.
Senator Methu.
Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. You know, Mr. Speaker, when we last had, or the last session that we had, when we had our special sitting, the session ended. I don't want to use the word acrimony, but I'm struggling to get a better word to use. But I mean, the situation escalated quite quickly, so we were not able to pass our condolences. And if you allow me, in a minute, I want to pass my condolences to the family of the Honorable Raila Odinga, his wife, the children, our colleague Senator Oburu, who is now the new party leader of ODM. Mr. Speaker, sir, the departed Prime Minister is a man who lived one of the most successful political lives any politician would think about. He worked with virtually every regime. They all came and left him. He worked with the President Moi, came and left him. And there are many things that we can learn from him, but I think the hallmark of what I would learn as a young leader from the Honorable Raila Odinga is being brave, choosing the path of justice, even when it is very lonely sometimes. You do not have, and it was said in a book that I read called, I think, Half a Day, there's a, I don't remember really the title, but there's a man called Dr. Stockman who said, the quest for justice. So therefore, one of the most we can actually remember from the departed leader, Honorable Raila Odinga, is that when he voluntarily chose a very difficult thing, and it has not happened again, he chose to resign, go back, get another party, and go back to his people, and again in Langata in 1994. That is not a feat that has been, or that is not broken by anybody. We may act brave, we may act courageous, but we have never gotten to that level. He is one consummate politician who has been extremely successful, powerful when he's in government, and powerful when he's not in government. He was just as powerful when he was in government as he was when he was not. He was as powerful when he was Prime Minister, and when he was leader of opposition, when he was in the handshake, and when he was in the broad-based. I may not have agreed with him when he moved to work with President William Ruto, but he always pursued what he believed in his heart was a correct thing, and I think it's a lesson that all of us should be able to carry home. I want to congratulate Senator Redama, and by the way, in the spirit of honoring and remembering the ripe times of our departed Prime Minister, one thing that we must also acknowledge and recognize is the kind of mentorship that he offered to young leaders. Mr. Speaker, Senator Redama is fairly a very young senator, not of course as young as I am, but he's fairly a young senator, and has been given quite a huge role on the parliamentary responsibility, being the minority whip. The same case to Senator Sifuna, who is the deputy minority whip and the secretary general of the party. The same case to Senator Eddy, who is my age mate and chairman of a committee. And many other. Senator Osotsi is fairly a young person and is the deputy party leader. He has been able and he has been seen, when we speak about the leaders of tomorrow, he actually was in the forefront in preparing the leaders of tomorrow. You don't just speak about leaders of tomorrow and you are doing nothing about it. There are many other people who do not want to give young people opportunities to grow and to exercise the talents and leadership capacities and potentials that they have. I also want to congratulate Senator Ledama for this bill, which in my opinion, Mr. Speaker, or Madam Speaker, sorry, wants to operationalize Article 96 of our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, in the quest for hunting for resources, especially to our counties, we hunt hand in hand, especially with the governors. If you remember, Mr. Speaker, and I can see, I think Senator Ledama was one of those who sat in the mediation committee, look at the kind of canvassing, the kind of support, the kind of camaraderie that we got from the Council of Governors. Mr. Speaker, or Madam Speaker, sorry, I keep forgetting because there was a Mr. Speaker before you, so please forgive me. If you see the kind of support that we got from the Council of Governors, it is the same support that we would require and would not even request. Is the same kind of support that we would expect when we are overseeing how this money has been spent, Mr. Speaker. But once this money has gone and budgeted, Mr. Speaker, that now becomes the beginning of the sore part of our relationships with the Council of Governors and the County Executive, Mr. Speaker. I'm happy that I'm seeing Senator Osotsi here. You remember during the formula debate that we had here, there is something that we passed that has not been there on the affirmative fund that was failed, Mr. Speaker. Required incentives so that they can grow as much as the others, Mr. Speaker. His county, Vihiga, qualified, my own county, Nyandaro, qualified, and 9 other counties, Mr. Speaker, qualified. What would have expected, and I know this is what Senator Osotsi would have expected, is that this extra 364 million that we got for the counties, Mr. Speaker, would have been budgeted as special budget so that Vihiga County, Mr. Speaker, can be able to show that over and above what we had budgeted, because they have already done their budget estimates, Mr. Speaker, over and above what they had budgeted for that financial year, for the County of Nyandaro, over and above what they had budgeted in their budget, Mr. Speaker, this is the extra that we have gotten from the Senate, 364 million, and this is how we shall use it, not amalgamating it in the main budget. Mr. Speaker, sadly, all that money was put together with the entire money that came from the equitable share, the money that they got from the own source. And so, Mr. Speaker, you are not able to point, where is this affirmative? Where is this money that we passed? How would you tell Senator Osotsi that you brought money to the people of Vihiga, and there's nothing that you can point, specific thing that you can point, that out of the money, and Senator Mwaruma, because we were together with you, out of the money that we passed in this Senate, Madam Speaker, we got you an extra. So your roads will be done because you bought machineries. So your seeds will be improved because we got you improved seeds. Your new hospital will get a new wing. These ECD centers are the ones that we got out of this extra money. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker. So therefore, what this bill seeks to cure, in my opinion, is this thing that governors look at us with suspicious eyes. They feel that we are witch hunting them when we want to ask them questions. Mr. Speaker, once you have subjected yourself, and you know there are many elective positions, Mr. Speaker. You can choose to be president, you can choose to be governor, you can choose to be senator, you can choose to be. Many of the people who are here, Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, actually qualify for all the positions. But you have chosen the side of being to oversight. If you choose to go to become a governor, then you must be ready. You must be ready to be accountable. And this is a constitutional provision. The same constitution that has made you governor is the same constitution, Article 96, that tells you that you are a senator and the Senate will pay oversight on the money that we give you. There's no way that you are very welcoming when we are giving you money. But when we want to ask you how you have spent this money, you don't want. And there are two things that I want to first speak about that I've seen in the bill that are actually very good. Number one is Article 17, Part 2C, facilitating access to information held by county government. Madam Speaker, you actually know that in the case of Busia, you saw it. The senator for Busia, the Honorable Andrew Okia Omtata, had to actually go to court so that the courts can grant from the county, Madam Speaker. What a sad state. If a senator cannot get these documents, who can? And access to information is a requirement by law. There is no private documents that are kept in any government offices, Mr. Speaker. You don't keep your ID there. You don't keep your title deed there. You don't keep your bank statements there. You don't keep your medical records there. Whatever is in that particular office is public records, and they should be readily available to members of public and to senators as when and if they are required, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, I allowed the Senator Olekina, because of this particular provision, that there should be facilitation of access to information to all, not to just the senator. If an MCA wants information about a project that happened in such and such a place, that information should be able to be provided. How this project, first, is it in the CIDP? Was it in the annual development plan? If it was there then, was it in the budget? If it was in the budget, well, how was it procured? If it was procured properly, when were the services rendered? If the services were rendered and the certificates have been issued, when was it paid? If it has not been paid, where does it feature in the books of the county? If it was paid, these are the documents that were required, and it was paid in such and such a date. Madam Speaker, that information is not private information. Nobody should refuse with that kind of information. That is information that should be readily available for everybody. Number two, it is in the same article, 17D, engage communities and interest groups on the formulation of plans for the economic development of the county. Madam Speaker, for the economic development of a county, there are two guiding documents that are provided for in law. The long-term plan is the County Integrated Development Plan, CIDP. It is in this CIDP that people say that in these 5 years that you have been given as governor, we expect you to do this, we expect you to do this, we expect you to do this, and over and above what they have asked that it should be done, they also give priorities. In terms of priorities, this is, would want you to start with health, and on the matters of health, we would want you to upgrade JM Karaoke Hospital. We would want you to deal with education. We would want you to deal with agriculture and all this, Mr. Speaker. So therefore, communities must get a voice in matters CIDP. The second document, Madam Speaker, which is now the short-term document, is the annual development plan. Budgets must be derived from the annual development plan. This kind of governance, this habit of governance, Madam Speaker, changing programs haphazardly. Today, you are speaking about buying, I don't know, Senator Olekina, whether you help me. There is, oh yeah, I remember now. There is something that they brought in Nyandarua, I think in the first year of our governor. Now he was saying so that we increase in milk production, now we are giving farmers super napier. Super napier, so that now the milk production will go so high. They put it in the budget the first year, I think 12.5 million, then another in the supplementary, another 12.5 million. Just before that program kicks off, Madam Speaker, the next year, the governor told us now we are not dealing with super napier again, now we are dealing with EPO. We now will stop doing or giving super napier, we'll now start giving you EPOs. And I think the budget was prepared. Some people are given EPOs. Just before farmers in Nyandarua start acclimatizing on how we shall do EPO farming, we are now told I think now the current program is coffee growing in Nyandarua. Madam Speaker, how these have been derived from the Land Use Development Plan. We must, Madam Speaker, stop this habit of governance. Senator Mwaruma, and told you that this is working in my county, you want to rush it and customize it in your county. The factors that are there in Taita Taveta are not the same. The challenges of Narok are not the challenges of Nyandarua. The challenges of Narok are issues to do with livestock. If I want to teach him on cabbages farming, maybe it does not do as better as it does in Nyandarua County, Madam Speaker. So therefore, I really support this particular provision in law. And number F is monitor the spending patterns of public entities within the county. This is also very, very important. That this bill seeks to give the senator the powers to monitor the spending patterns, Madam. We try and cure this issue that, and I have been a member of the Public Accounts Committee. I think I was there for 2.5 years, or rather, I think, it was 2.5 years, Madam Speaker. And the problem that we have, I'm wondering whether 10 minutes is, I think I speak either very slowly or I speak very fast, so I don't notice when my time goes. Or I think the watch that Mogera uses when I'm speaking is a bit different. But I want to be very, very quick, Madam Speaker. So that we try and cure this problem of the Public Accounts Committee being a committee of morticians, that you only deal with matters once they have already happened. This provision, Madam Speaker, is monitor spending patterns. This one is meant to monitor. As things are happening, you're able to monitor. You have a view of what is happening in Nyamira. You have a view of such and such a project was there in the budget. How far is it? Has it been procured? Has the services started been happening? Madam Speaker, you know, some projects are long-term, so you are given a 2-year contract. Madam Speaker, when the contract has not been spent, you are not able to raise questions, even at the Public Accounts Committee level, Madam Speaker. But now tell me, if you are supposed to do this project in 2 years, and 1 year, 6 months you have not started, how will you start in the last 6 months? And you're not supposed to ask a question because the contract is alive. I think this is what Senator Olekina wanted to cure when he brought this particular bill. I've spoken about this. This is 18.6. The County Executive Committee member shall avail, and the use of the word shall is very critical, shall avail the senator with pertinent information. It's not a request. If I want information on anything, this is a public entity, on anything, any project, any program, any government program, including, Madam Speaker, you know, we have had a challenge, even getting to know the prayer breakfast of the national prayer breakfast, how much was spent by either Parliament, the national government. Nobody knows how much was spent. Prayer breakfast, you're even hiding money that you are using to pray. You're just talking to God, you don't want to know, you don't want us to know how much you spent when you wanted to speak to God. I mean, Madam Speaker, these are things that should be so straightforward. And I think they should, and I think 19 also speaks about these documents being availed to the members of public. This is also something else that I was able to pick. The clerk of the Senate may provide such logistical support as necessary. Maybe I would want you to move an amendment, Senator Olekina, so that you don't leave it as a prerogative of the clerk of the Senate to either offer or not. Because when you say that may offer, he may choose not to. He may start with Kiambu, or Wajir is so far, and it should be the clerk of the Senate shall provide. It should be his obligation to support senators as they carry out their oversight role. Maybe finally, Senator Olekina, as we think about the miscellaneous provisions that are here, I have seen that there are regulations that will be moved by the County Executive Committee member. And one of them, notwithstanding the generality of subsection 1, the CEC member may make regulations on the processes related to the management and implementation of the project. It is here that I would want us to be a bit careful, so that they also don't process regulations that will claw back the gains that we have gotten, because they may put things in the regulations that do not make it easy for us to know the management and the processes in the implementation of projects. In fact, this is very critical, Senator Olekina. because these regulations are speaking about implementation. This is where the crust of this matter would be cured. If we want to play very, very active oversight, it should be in the implementation of projects. So therefore, it should be an open book on how we can be able to see, we can be able to view implementation of projects. It should not be, if as you see now, for example, Senator Onekina, as it has been provided here, what if as you see now says in the regulation that this information will only be provided after the completion certificate of that project has been issued, then we shall have lost the
30 seconds. 30 seconds. You're actually spending your 30 seconds.
Just 1 minute. I know Senator Morango wants to also speak a lot of wisdom, Madam Speaker. These miscellaneous provisions, Madam Speaker, is something that we must look, so that we don't claw back on all the gains that have been made in this particular bill, so that we don't also donate so much powers again to the CEC after we have won freedom, then we won't curtail ourselves with this issue on regulations. I want to stop at that. Thank you.
Senator Professor Kamara.
I'm not getting the microphone. Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I've gone through this bill. Unfortunately, I don't support it in the format it's in. I do not support it, Madam Speaker, because it is completely changing the spirit of Article 96 of the Constitution. What this bill has done, it is confessing that it is following, it's unpacking Article 96. But when you go to Article 96, it talks of the role of the Senate. This bill is talking about the role of an elected senator. We need to be very clear what it is we are looking for. Is this bill supposed to take care of the oversight fund that has already come into this House, which we had said we need to deal with, or it is dealing with oversight? So my beginning point is the title of the bill. Is this county oversight? I don't know how county oversight and accountability comes in, first to begin with, because if it is county oversight, we need to address county oversight. Accountability is a different animal. Accountability should be part of what we are doing. So when we talk of, and I really appreciate the details that the two members have brought in, but I want them to think through. If we are talking about county oversight, let's go to the Constitution and look at the role that was given to this House and the role that was given to the MCS. Because I see this bill bringing a potential conflict between. If you look at what the role of Senate in Article 96 says, it says the Senate will represent counties and serve to protect interests. The Senate will participate in lawmaking. It will determine the allocation of national revenue. The Senate will participate in oversight. The Senate. But when we have gone to this bill, we have broken it into the individual senators. In fact, I was looking at this at, if you look at Article 16 of the proposal that we have been given on oversight, Article 1 says that the Senate shall pursuant to Article 96 of the Constitution exercise oversight. But Senator Olekina, when you go to sub-Article 2, you go to each senator shall exercise power of oversight over their respective counties, which means each elected senator. So let's come out. If it is each elected senator, let's call it each elected senator, so that we now look for the animal that will take care of the other senators who are not elected. I've been elected, I'm nominated, and I'm talking from a neutral ground. That you cannot talk of oversight being done by a senator. The reason, and we have had this, I wish the senator of Samburu was here, because we had a very rough time in our committee today when the governor of Samburu came. And that is when I saw oversight must be done according to this constitution. But to have Senator Ledama to go to Narok alone, to have the senator of Samburu to go to Samburu alone, he will not succeed. That is when you hear of goons fighting between. Exercise the power of oversight. We have been exercising it. We didn't need a bill to do this. It is part of what we are doing. But what does the Constitution confer? The Constitution confers the power of oversight to the House. And then the House has committees. If you look at the chapter that deals with committees, it says this House shall operate through committees. And I'm asking my dear brother Olekin, committees vis-a-vis an individual person, and find it wise as he looks at the amendments we wish to introduce, give you better service than an individual. I say this because I was elected, Madam Speaker. When I was elected, I was able to oversight my governor through the committees of this House, not through an individual, but information. I got a lot of information. My Senate office was getting information from the CECs and whatever. I never interacted with the CEC. Why should I interact with the CEC? My own staff, who are equal to the CEC, will interact with the CEC. And once they have interacted, they bring information to my office. They tell me this is the area that is weak. I ask a question in this House. I did 2 petitions, which were very successful. The first petition blocked the governor from buying a building that the public said was actually had a figure that was higher than the figure. This House did a wonderful job for me, because it was the committee that went in, analyzed, went through the projects. I'm saying this to save ourselves, because I think the problem is that we might actually put ourselves, just because we are thinking about this little money of oversight, we might say to protect the elected and leave the nominated. We need to ask ourselves, is that what we want to do? Number 2, if you look at that, there shall be openness and accountability over the county budget oversight process. Why should you even go beyond that? Why do you want to be accountable to a fund that you are using directly? It is an expense to send your people to go and collect data. Why are we looking like we don't want to be suspected? We again think it is good to reread and see how we can do. We'll be introducing our own amendments to take care of that. Then Article 17 has concentrated on this senator. A senator may facilitate public participation. Let's go to the issue of public participation. My brother Olekina, public participation is going on. Currently. Before there is published every 5 years, massive public participation takes place. Even as nominated, I went to 3 wards to know if actually we are doing the right thing and giving people what they want. That is public participation number 1. According to the Constitution, you must have a CIDP, and once you have had your CIDP, you must have annual plans. When the annual plan, an annual plan is an extract for that year, and hopefully the county has 5 annual plans which they don't declare, they declare annual what they are going to do. And once they have declared, annually what they are going to do in the year. That is what they will follow. But are we going to have a diversion from the annual? Because that is what will protect individual conflicts between a senator and a governor. Now, if you go further, Article 15, I know I'm going zigzag, I'm coming backwards. The officers shall prepare an annual report on the status of public finances in the respective county set out with the following information. Currently, the Comptroller of Budget does that, not annual, but monthly. I used to get, as a senator, monthly reports on my county, and my senator was here. I wanted to know whether he's still receiving that, because we used to receive, but the other senators must be receiving. If we are receiving that from the Comptroller of Budget, is this bill not going to be in conflict with the role of the Comptroller of Budget? Because the role of the Comptroller of Budget is to monitor. So if we allocate ourselves the role of monitoring, the way the budget flow will be, what will the role of the Comptroller of Budget? Again, let's read the Comptroller of Budget's role before we even look at the role of the Auditor General. Because I looked at some of the clauses and I think we might step on the toes of the Auditor General. So Madam Speaker, with all due respect to my colleagues that are proposed, I like the oversight. We must protect it through a law. We must have a bill. But I want to persuade Senator Olegina that let's relook at this in relation to what is existing and the roles that we cannot change. But more than anything, please let us not take the role of the Senate to individual senators. Let the Senate committee, I looked, unless I did not see, I was looking for a mention of the Senate committee in this bill. Because the Constitution has not talked about the senator. It had officers to the Senate itself. So there is no mention, unless it is in an article that I have not seen. Why would we not have a mention of the committees of this House? The committees of this House are very powerful. They have been given the power even to arrest. We are told that they are given the powers of the High Court. If they have the powers of the High Court, will an individual senator have the powers of the High Court? I ask that loudly, Madam Speaker. Will the individual, or we are trying to, or we'll expose ourselves? I'm looking for a way in which we are not exposing individuals, but we are dealing with what the Constitution gave the Senate as an institution. So, Senator Olekina, I like the intention of the bill. But as much as I like the intention of the bill, I would really like to say, let's avoid conflict with MCS, let's avoid conflict with anybody, even the executive, let's avoid conflict with the Comptroller of Budget, let us avoid conflict with the Auditor General. Let's remove the conflicts and let's allow ourselves to run as a Senate that must do oversight as per the Constitution, Article 96, which this bill is trying to unpack. I was going to be brief because there are few things that I wish could be corrected beforehand, but I'll prepare my articles because I was a little also confused when it came to the annual infrastructural document, but I want to understand that one more because I don't want to touch on anything that I have not fully understood. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I have reservations, and I would like my reservations to be addressed before I support this bill. Thank you.
Senator Morango.
Asante sana Mstahiki Spika kwa kunipatia nafasi niweze kuchangia katika mswada ambao unahusu uangalizi na uwajibikaji kwenye gatuzi zetu. Mstahiki Spika, kwanza ningetaka kumpa kongole Senator Orekina wakiwa na Senator Kisang kwa kuzamia katika jambo hili na kwa weledi mkubwa na tajriba kutupatia mswada uliokuwa mbele yetu. Nadhania Mstahiki Spika ni kwa sababu wameona dhoruba na hali ya bahari, wakaamua kushona jarife na kutengeneza jahazi ili tuweze kufika kilidini. Kwa sababu kwa muda, Mstahiki Spika, katika mambo ya ushiriki wa umma katika gatuzi zetu imekuwa tu ni eka za mbunwasi, lakini imekuwa ifanyiki vilivyo. Ukiangalia sana sana, kwa sababu hapo awali nimekuwa mwakilishi wandi ya Kerugoya, ni kwamba wakilishi wandi wanafanya ushiriki wa umma kivyao, alafu gavana anafanya ushiriki wa umma kivyake. Na katika hali zote zile fedha za umma huwa zinatumika. Lakini gavana pia huwa anachukua maoni ambayo yeye mwenyewe amesirikisha umma ndio anatumia kutengeneza bajeti. Juzi nadhani Mr. Speaker uliona aibu iliyokuweko pale kwetu Kirinyaga, akina mama wakipigishwa vichwangomba na mapinde kukiwa na DJ, na kukija uhasibu utakuja kupata kwamba ile fedha ilitumika katika yale mambo yalikuwa yanafanywa pale, itakuwa na nafasi kuonyeshana ya kwamba kulikuwa na ushiriki wa umma na hukuwa ni ushiriki wa umma. Mr. Speaker, ukiangalia sana kumekuwa na tatizo kwamba unapata barabara ambayo imetengenezwa na kera pia imeratibiwa kutengenezwa pia na county, na unapata ya kwamba fedha zimelipwa kwamba county ndio imeweza kutengeneza ile barabara, lakini imetengenezwa na serikali kuu. Lakini Mr. Speaker, kwa sababu nyumba inajulikana na mwenyeji sio mgeni, ili tuweze kungamua mbivu na mbichi inabidi tuweze kupewa nafasi ya pia kutoa maoni yetu na kukaa katika ushiriki ambao unafanyika ili tuweze kuelewa zaidi nini inaendelea. Kwa sababu ilivyo sahihi, ukiniambia seneta niende nikaombe ruhusa mwakilishi wandi kutoka wandi fulani ili niweze kukaa kutathmini yanayoendelea, sidhani itakuwa naweza kutoshea katika ile nafasi. Na kama ni gavana ya kuangalia wanaofanya, kwa sababu wakati wanayofanya hiyo maneno ya ushiriki ya umma ambao inakuanga ni gushi, hawatakangi pia kujulikana. Inafaa Mstahiki Speaker, nitapeana mfano wa seremara ambaye sana sana huwa anatumia misumari kushikanisha mbao. Utapata kwamba yule msumari ulio wima ndio ugongwa sana na nyundo. Ule msumari ambao uko kombo huwa unaachwa. Na hivyo ndio hivyo ilivyo siku ya leo, kwamba seneta ambaye anafaa kufanya uangalizi wakati anaposema jambo kuhusu venye ushiriki wao unafanyika siku ya leo, wendo unagongwa sana, lakini walio kombo mangavana wanaachwa. Nadhani kama kungekuwa na haki, njera nyingi zingekuwa zimejaa wale mangavana, lakini sio raia maskini. Mstahiki Speaker, kuna msemo wa Kiswahili unasema kwamba ukiona maharagwe yameiva ujue makaa yameteketea. Mstahiki Speaker, wakati unaona dhoruba na kelele nyingi katika kaunti wakati tunauliza maswali, hiyo ni dalili ya kwamba maharagwe yameiva na makaa yameteketea. Na makaa yenyewe ni fedha za umma. Kwa sababu fedha za umma lazima kuwe na zinafanywa uangalizi. Lazima watu wajibike wakati wanatumia fedha za umma. Na kwa hivyo njia mojawapo ya kupata majibu ya fedha zinazotumika, kwanza ni kuhusisha wananchi waseme wanataka nini. wakati wakisema nataka nini, bajeti inayotumika ikitumika tuweze pia kuona ni nini imefanya. Kwa sasa maseneta wameachiwa kazi ya kama kupasua maiti. Unajua mpasua maiti sio daktari. Kwa hivyo tunapofikiwa na zile ripoti kutoka kwa mkuu wa uhasibu, tunayoweza kufanya ni tuseme ni nini ilisababisha kifo cha ambacho kinatokea kwa fedha za umma. Lakini hatuwezi sema tuwezi kutimbu magonjwa ambayo yameua imeua zile fedha ambazo tunapatia county. Kwa hivyo ikiwepo kuna nafasi ya sisi kuwa pale kuhakikisha kwamba pia tunahusika, tutaweza kurekebisha mambo zingine kabla mambo hayajaweza kuharibika zaidi. Mr. Speaker, wakati tulikuwa tunafanya ushiriki wa umma kama wakilishi wandi pale nilipokuwa kiongozi wa wengi katika gatuzi la Kirinyaga, kulikuwa na tatizo moja ambalo lilikuwa linatokezea. Ni kwamba bajeti inayotoka kwa gavana ndio inapelekwa kushirikishwa kwa umma. Lakini sio kusema wameulizwa kwanza kwa mujibu wa sheria, ili wakuje waulizwe maswali waseme waulizwe kwanza alafu ndio gavana hakuja na majibu. Inaanza kwamba bajeti inatengenezwa na gavana. Kuna mwingine alinunua mavi ya mbuzi akasema ni mbolea na akapeana, na ukienda kwa uhasibu uwezi tena ukaenda ukahesabu chembe ya mavi ya mbuzi ili uweze kuweza kufanya gavana awajibike. Kwa hivyo inakuwa ni kusudia kwamba ile mambo inafanywa kusudi, kwa sababu gavana anajua ya kwamba uwezi enda pale tena ukaweza kufanya awajibike katika maneno ambayo amefanya. Lakini kwa mujibu wa sheria inafaa wananchi waseme wanataka nini, gavana aende atengeneze kupitia waziri wa county wa fedha aweze kutengeneza kupiga makofi na kuimba nyimbo ambazo hazina kiitikio. Unakuja kupata kwamba Mr. Speaker, gavana akisema anajenga uwanja ya helikopta kutua wanapiga makofi tu. Lakini wale wananchi ambao wanafaa kuwa wanasema nini wanataka, wale hawana maji, hawana dawa hospitalini, hawana barabara, wana la kusema. Kwa sababu gani? Kwa sababu majukumu yote ya kushirikisha umma katika mchakato mzima kutengeneza bajeti umeachiwa gavana. Hiyo ndio sababu kubwa. Na kwa hivyo gavana hufanya mambo ambazo anajua ni rahisi kufanya kuliko kufanya mambo ambayo inatakikana kufanya. Mr. Speaker, nimetoka kaunti ambayo zaidi ya 99.9% ni wakulima. Lakini bajeti inaoenda katika kustawisha kilimo unapata ni duni, hata haijafika 5%. Sasa unakuja unajiuliza, ni akina nani hawa wanasema kwamba kujengwe magorofa? Ni akina nani hao wamesema kwamba wanataka kwenda barabarani kupiga vichwa ngomba na mapinde kuliko kusema wanataka vitu ambazo unaona waziwazi inafaa kufanywa. Kwa hivyo mimi ningesema kwamba chambilecho waenga akili ni nywele, kwamba Senator Olekina na Kisang wamefanya kazi nzuri kukuja na mswada ambao uko mbele yetu siku ya leo. Ningesema kwamba tuunge mkono bila kuangalia mambo mengi sana kando kando, kwa sababu Mr. Speaker, ukiniuliza mambo ambayo inaendelea leo Kirinyaga ni rahisi sana kukuelezea kama mkazi sahihi. Nikiwa pale mimi ndo nafaa kutengeneza ripoti ambayo nitaleta katika bunge la Seneti ili iweze kufikia kamati tofauti ili waweze kujadili, kwa sababu katika sheria mswada tulio nao hapa hakuna mahali ambao unasema kwamba ripoti itakayotoka kwenye gatuzi zetu isifike kwa kamati zetu za Seneti. Kwa hivyo Mr. Speaker, mimi naunga mkono na niseme ya kwamba sheria tulio nayo hapa iweze kufanyishwa kazi na kama kuna mabadiliko kidogo iweze kufanywa, kwa sababu pia wakati nilikuwa mwenyekiti wa kamati ya ukulima tulikuwa pia tunafanya ushiriki wa umma, na ni vizuri niseme hivi kwa sababu najua wenzangu pia wamepatana na hili. Lakini jambo moja inafanya kamati pia za mbunge kuogopa sana kwenda kufanya ushiriki wa umma, ni kwa sababu unapoenda akukuangi na utaratibu wote kuhakikisha ya kwamba wale ambao unaowakuta wako na maji ya kunywa ama wameangaliwa vilivyo. Kwa hivyo maseneta wengi, na ningeomba kama seneta Mbua angekuwa hapa kwa sababu tulienda naye Kitui na akaona hii kwamba unarudi mfukoni kuhakikisha kwamba umeangalia na kutatua maneno ambayo unapata wakati unazunguka ukifanya ushiriki kwa umma. Kwa hivyo hayo mengi na machache, kwa sababu sitaki kumaliza wakati wenzangu wanataka kuongea, naunga mkono na tuunge mkono hii sheria. Asante sana Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Vihiga, Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Madam Speaker, from the onset, let me say that I want to congratulate the distinguished Senator for Narok for this very important bill. I know there are one or two issues that needs to be improved from the presentation by Senator Kamar and others, which the owner of this bill will try and improve. But all in all, this is a very necessary and important bill that we should all support. Madam Speaker, let me start by saying the matter of oversight in this country is a matter that probably should become a national debate, because we have had, rightly or wrongly, complaints from the public that the whole concept of oversight seems not to be on for this country. Madam Speaker, there are various reasons why that is so, and we must address it. And I remember very well our departed leader, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Was one of his main concerns in public before he departed us, that is Parliament performing its oversight role well? And according to him, there is a problem. So even as we mourn Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, we must reopen this debate, public debate, on what is the status of oversight in this country. Has it worked or not worked? Madam Speaker, when we talk about parliamentary oversight, we are talking about the oversight by the National Assembly, the oversight by the Senate, and the oversight by county assemblies. If you look at the National Assembly, Madam Speaker, where I served, the National Assembly, the committees, particularly the committee chairs, they are behaving like in those days, earlier days before the 2010 Constitution, they are behaving like assistant ministers. They act at the whims of the cabinet secretary. So what kind of oversight can you do if the chair of a parliamentary committee spends most of his time in the offices or government offices of cabinet secretaries? And he would even appear before the House to read responses, particularly to statements, by the cabinet secretary whom he's supposed to be oversighting. So I think it's important for us to relook at the whole concept of oversight. There is also the element of independence of legislature. For example, at the county assembly level, the county assemblies are not independent. Finance autonomy law that has given them some teeth. But the implementation is so slow, Madam Speaker. Something has to be done so that at least MCS start having teeth to bite in their respective counties. For the Senate, Madam Speaker, we are being let down by other supporting public institutions. Madam Speaker, For example, the EACC. How many reports, how many recommendations are we given out to EACC that have not been acted upon? The Director of Public Prosecution, Madam Speaker, how many recommendations have they not acted on, Madam Speaker? So I think all that provides fodder for the need for us to review the entire process of oversight in this country to ensure it works. Madam Speaker, coming to this bill, I would want the mover of this bill to also look at the roles of other people in our respective counties who perform the role of oversight. For example, Madam Speaker, if you go back to our counties, you see a lot of young men who are doing an excellent job in our respective counties, either as bloggers, bringing up issues on matters of accountability in our counties. Others are in civil society, bringing up issues. I think there is need to protect these individuals who are doing a good job. I have so many of them in my county, and they do a good job, and I support them to do that job. And I think this law should look at how can we protect or enforce these people so that they do their work in a more structured manner and they are protected. Because some of them have even lost lives, Madam Speaker. Like you saw the case of Meru, where a blogger was murdered. And many others, Madam Speaker. We have to find a system in which we can protect these good citizens who want to participate in ensuring that there is accountability in our counties. Madam Speaker, role of our partners, Madam Speaker. For example, the Office of the Auditor General. How can they help us to enhance this law? Because they play an important role. They provide us the primary data that we need to be able to do our oversight well, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, even as I talk about the roles of other partners, particularly OAG, I think there is a need for us to overhaul our financial accountability system in this country. Madam Speaker, the financial system in this country, it is based on a Westminster system. Westminster, which we borrowed from United Kingdom, which starts with the authorization of expenditure by Parliament through the budget making process, and then it leads to production of financial statement at the end of the year by entities, and then auditing process as per the Public Audit Act, and then submission of audit report back to Parliament, and then Parliament through the committees of PAC and PIC to review those reports. Madam Speaker, this system has a lot of gaps. There are other better systems that this country should consider. For example, we have a judicial system. Other countries, for example, we happen to have visited Morocco, where they have what we call court of accounts, where entities appear in a judicial setup, they present their report, and a judgment is made there and there. If someone has stolen, a judgment is made there to put him in, or to fine him, or to basically take an action. Our system, Madam Speaker, when you do the audit review, you do a report, it is passed here, recommendations go to EACC, and no one bothers to act on them. The whole thing is full of gaps, which must be looked at so that we have a tighter financial accountability system that is going to protect our investment in this country. Madam Speaker, let me also talk about on the role of public participation. Public participation in this country is not public participation, Madam Speaker, particularly in the counties. In the counties, you find a scenario where same individuals are the ones who participate in public participation, and they earn 1,000 shillings. They're like they're in employment. So if we have public participation today, tomorrow the same fellows will appear there. If you appear in some of those county public participation forum, and you have an alternative view, Madam Speaker, you are carried away a proper comprehensive legislation on the process of public participation. Madam Speaker, coming to this bill, the bill talks about having facilities for public participation. I want to agree with Senator Kajwang that can we, instead of saying public participation facility, can we have multifunctional town halls in our areas so that they can do other things when there is no public participation, they can be used for other functions. As well, so that this is a good bill, but as I said, a few things here require panel beating, which I think we will be looking at it and making improvement where it is necessary. Lastly, Madam Speaker, the issue of implementation. Oversight, it is important, but oversight produces recommendations. How effective is our implementation mechanism in our respective houses of parliament to ensure that the recommendations that we make are implementable? So many things are recommended by our committees, but they are never implemented, Madam Speaker. In this House, this matter has come up many times. Some are of the school of thought that we do not need an implementation committee. Others are saying that we need to have implementation mechanism within our committees. Madam Speaker, I still hold that we need a substantive committee of the Senate to be dealing with matters of implementation, so that we have a structured way of following up on matters of implementation of the recommendations that we give in our various committees, so that we can follow up and act on those issues. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to support with amendments.
Senator Wakwabubi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute towards this bill. I want to begin by acclaiming the proponents of this bill, that is Senator Ledama and the co-sponsor, Senator Kisang, because we want to wrap it having public participation. And I would love to peg it to the Constitution. Like for Chapter 1 of the Constitution, it talks about the sovereignty of the people and the supremacy of the Constitution. Senator Ososi has presented something on the constitutional, what the Constitution envisage about public participation. And I would like to put the quotations right. For example, we have Article 118 that talks about public access and participation in Parliament. Article 196 talks about public participation in county assemblies. And Article 201 talks about public participation in financial matters. I want to substantiate much about these constitutional frameworks that guide this, because we all know that the crux of public participation as a tool is actually a core principle for government operations and the entire legislative process. Public participation has been there, but in my own honest opinion, sometimes I could say that it has been haphazardly done, and therefore there is need for us maybe to have whatever the senators have presented to enable us to do a lot of oversight for the purpose of efficacy and performance. When we relate back to what Baba left us with, I think he had a very good public philosophy on devolution that was goal-oriented. So we also need to look at these senators to monitor the relevance, the effectiveness, the efficiency, or rather the efficacy of all that we have. Counties have got CIDPs, they have got fiscal strategy papers, and they have got well-documented papers in regard to projects, in regard to budget estimates, and even the items. They have what we refer to as itemized budgets. But sometimes, like Senator Methu pointed out, that there is a lot of movement of funds from one voted to another. That is violent, that is unconstitutional, and this tends to maybe curtail the progress of the projects that were intended for, and therefore also curtailing development for the people. So I want us to look at this, that public participation as a tool occasions for diverse audiences where they have to give input from different, maybe counties, from different perspectives and from different sectors. Therefore, there is a need for us to engineer this tool of public participation, or rather fundamentally change the design to suit and maybe to offer what it is intended for.
Order, Senator Ledama Yokamkunji is a bit loud. Please consult in low tones.
So I want to conclude by saying that I support this bill, and the conflicts will always be there, especially if you have something objective, they will always be there. But let's look at the delivery point and the pinpoints with which we are operating. I submit.
Senator Omogeni.
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I begin by first congratulating the two senators, Senator Ledama Olekina and Senator Kisang, for the thoughts they have put together to bring the County Oversight and Accountability Bill before this House, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I'm also privileged to be speaking when the distinguished Senator Professor Kamar is still in the House, because I listened carefully as she raised serious objections to this bill. Madam Speaker, I first want to inform the House that I've had also the privilege of reading through the memoranda of objects and reasons for this bill. And Madam Speaker, if you read in paragraph 3, The bill actually seeks to give effect to the constitutional provisions on oversight, on public participation, and on participatory democracy. And it cites Article 96, Article 174, and Article 21. Madam Speaker, for some of us who are lawyers, time and again, our courts of law have made many pronouncements on the importance of public participation. But by and large, it is us parliamentarians who have been a big letdown, Madam Speaker, to the public, because we have failed year after year to enact an enabling legislation that would give full effect to Article 10 of the Constitution that gives prominence to on public participation, on our governance issues, policy decision making, approval of important government appointees, etc., etc. So, Madam Speaker, we have been accorded an opportunity by these two distinguished senators to step in and fill the gaps, Madam Speaker. Because when you enact a legislation, you give a good framework that should guide our public entities and our public bodies on how to undertake an effective and meaningful public margin, how appreciate imagine how appreciated the citizens of this country will feel if we start budgeting for constructions of social halls, where budgets will be taken and the citizens will make their input before county assemblies, or even our national parliament, Senate and National Assembly, passes a legislation. Madam Speaker, if you look at the decisions that have come from, our courts, Madam Speaker, public participation must be real, not illusionary. Saying real means that the people really must get an opportunity to make their input and for their voice to be heard. And then he says, if you don't understand consideration in decision making. Madam Speaker, I'll propose that we be radical, we be more radical, and enact that the citizens of this country should do an actual vote on some of these decisions. And if you go to other jurisdictions, if you go to Switzerland, Madam Speaker, the concept of public participation is mentioned in their constitution the way it's mentioned in our Kenyan constitution. But the way they give effect to that provision on public participation is by ensuring that the citizens themselves conduct a vote, Madam Speaker, on that law. If you want to pass a legislation and you go to seek the views of the people, if you have 100 people in the hall, you do a vote. You know, if more than 50% support, then you will say that that particular region supports that law. That's the only way we can have meaningful public participation. We saw what happened, and I have no intention of casting aspersions to our colleagues from the National Assembly, but we also what happened during public participation on the proposed constitutional amendment bill, Madam Speaker. It is impossible to say whether the people who appeared before those public participation sessions indeed supported the bill. Because at times you go and there is heckling. Those who support the bill are given an opportunity to speak. Those who are opposing are not given an opportunity to speak. So it's not meaningful. The only way, Madam Speaker, we can make it meaningful, and it was not for nothing that that provision was put in the Constitution. We borrowed it from other jurisdictions. And those jurisdictions include what I've mentioned, Switzerland, what happens in Australia. Madam Speaker, in Australia, there is just a principle. The way our Constitution, in Article 10, as a principle, that there will be public participation. But how to make it effective and meaningful is a mandate that has been reserved for us senators. Madam Speaker, if you go to Australia, if you want to amend the Constitution in Australia, Madam Speaker, you undertake a referendum, Madam Speaker, and the people vote on that law before it is enacted. If you're able to get majority, then it becomes law. If you don't, it's not law. So the only way we can involve the people, I'll be proposing, Senator Olekina, is that Section 4, not article, Section 4 should be, public view shall be taken into consideration in decision making through a, so that we don't continue this business of alienating ourselves from the people. Madam Speaker, I've gone to my county the last 2 weekends, Madam Speaker, and there is hue and cry on the way Kenya Rural Roads Authority has budgeted construction of roads in our 47 counties. Because some counties have been excluded, including my own county of Nyamira. Not even our single tarmac is budgeted for by the National Assembly, Madam Speaker. Yet, the people of my county of Nyamira are also taxpayers, just like the people of the county of Uasin Gishu are, or the people of the county of Nandi, or the county of Kisumu, Madam Speaker. But if public participation, the views of my people would have been taken into account, Madam Speaker, and then their input would have been heard, Madam Speaker. Remember what the late Prime Minister told us about roadside pronouncements, Mr. Speaker. He said that is what this country was fighting when we were enacting this new constitution. We gave a lot of legislative power to Parliament. We gave immense powers to the National Assembly on budget-making process. But you find the same members of Parliament will go to a public rally and they start lamenting to the President that, oh, Your Excellency, help us with a road here. Yet that role is reserved for the National Assembly. So I really urge my colleagues to support this bill so that we can start giving effect to the provisions that are in our Constitution. Number two, Mr. Speaker, I've seen what my good friend has proposed, especially in terms of empowering our senators to undertake effective public participation in Section 18. Now, Mr. Speaker, I'm just wondering, that's section says that the senator may employ such officers. Not surely, Senator Ledama. Look at the expansive county of Kakamega. Look at the expansive county of Meru. Look at your own county of Narok. How will 3 officers assist you in ensuring that you undertake effective oversight in a county? I will propose, Senator Ledama, that you don't be prescriptive. I'd rather that you delete the number 3 there and say that the senator may employ such officers, okay, as may be necessary for assisting them undertake their oversight role in counties. Because 3 officers may be useful for the Senator of Lamu, but they will certainly not be helpful, Senator Ledama, for the expansive counties that I've mentioned. And then on that particular section, Section 18, subsection 5, I think we should not limit the role of public participation to be the mandate of the Senator. What happens to regulations, proposed regulations from various ministries? I think let's not make it look like now we are shifting the obligation from the respective entities to us. Remember, the courts have said that the person who bears the responsibility of ensuring that there is effective public participation is the body that wants to benefit from the proposed policy or from the proposed legislation. So I'll propose that you consider amending that so that we leave that task to be with the respective bodies. Now, Madam Speaker, I want to support what the Senator for Kirinyaga, I think, said about budgeting making process, and more so on aspects of the mandate that is reserved for our counties. Madam Speaker, if you read the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya, agriculture is a devolved function of our counties. Counties in the west of, do we say west of Rift Valley or the western part of Kenya, beginning from Bomet all the way. I don't know about Nandi, but at least I know from Bomet all the way. There's been a hue and cry on the low bonuses that were paid. But Madam Speaker, if you listen to county, it's called COG, the County of Council of Governors, COG, Council of Governors. Not even one statement has been released by these governors offering an explanation why farmers have been paid low bonuses. Policy issues from our CS Agriculture, no statement has been issued at all. My own governor, the governor of Nyamira, nobody has spoken on this matter, low bonuses to our farmers. And yet, if you go to the budget, Madam Speaker, agriculture is not given adequate budget allocation, Madam Speaker. So this, if you give the farmers an opportunity to meaningfully participate in budget-making process, I'm sure they will put a very strong case, Madam Speaker, why there should be enhanced, where there should be an enhanced budget in agriculture, Madam Speaker. Because we used to be told when we were growing up that agriculture is the backbone of our economy. Madam Speaker, if it's the backbone of our economy, how do you pay a farmer tea bonus of 12 shillings when the cost he has used for picking the tea, the fertilizer, the tilling itself is more than the 12 shillings, meaning they are running at a loss, Madam Speaker. And then the government is mum, yet during the campaign, this matter was given a lot of prominence by His Excellency the President. He said he was going to fix agriculture. But now that agriculture is not working, now that there is a lot of pain for our farmers, I've not had any pronouncements from His Excellency the President, Madam Speaker. If we have effective public participation, Madam Speaker, the farmers themselves will have a good say on what policies, what steps should be taken in budget-making process, Madam Speaker, so that the farmer can also have a smile in their faces. The money they are getting cannot even enable them to pay SHA annually, the way it is being proposed by our government. And as I conclude, Madam Speaker, I'm very happy that finally counties that have never known social halls may finally have a benefit of having social halls, Madam Speaker. When we grew up, we used to hear about, is it Ofafa, Jericho Hall in Nairobi. I'm looking forward to also seeing in Nyamira a social hall, Madam Speaker, where people can go and their facilities. The governor can budget for a cup of tea, juice, and we rename it after our own heroes. Maybe it should be George Anyona Hall in Nyamira, Madam Speaker. So the contents of this bill, I dare say, Madam Speaker, are very progressive. It may have a few problems here and there, But Senator Professor Kamar, if we sit down and discuss, Madam Speaker, we can find a way of taking, taking on board the concerns of honorable senators. We enrich it, but at least let us demonstrate to our courts that we have been reading the decisions that have come from courts on this issue of public participation. And then we also make our oversight well anchored in legislation. At times, Madam Speaker, asking for documents from our respective counties becomes a quarrel between the senator and the governor. It's like you're committing a crime when you specifically want to get documents on some matters that relate to expenditure of public money. It's our taxes. My taxes end up going to the county of Nyamira, county of Kisumu, and other counties, Madam Speaker. So if you are spending public resources, you should happily be able to account, Madam Speaker, on how you have spent those resources. So with those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I fully support this bill, and I hope when it's finally enacted, the person who will be the biggest beneficiary will not be we senators, but the citizens of the Republic of Kenya, our bosses, the people, Madam Speaker, who have elected us to have this forum of speaking, as I'm doing this afternoon. I support and congratulations Senator Ledama and Senator Kisang. Thank you.
Senator Beatrice Ogola.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity. And from the word onset, I want to resonate with the colleagues that have been on the floor, and particularly because we have to enhance oversight and accountability in the counties for which the Senate is there, because by enhancing oversight and accountability, Madam Speaker, we will actually be strengthening the main role of the Senate. Madam Speaker, this oversight, I support this bill. One, that this bill will help to improve efficiency and effectiveness in the counties. That through this bill, we'll be promoting financial accountability. Madam Speaker, as I begin to support this bill, I also want to celebrate and not mourn the life of my fallen party leader, Jacom Baba, the former Prime Minister, the great man that created more greatness even in his death. Madam Speaker, I say I want to celebrate him because this is a man who lived his life. Not many people reach 80 years old. As we mourn him, we celebrate some of the values he lived for, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, in the later days of the life granted to Raila Amolo Odinga, our former Prime Minister, when you watch the later videos where he was speaking, he emphasized that we should always think as Kenyans before we think about ourselves. And I'm beginning to think, even as I was mourning, that we need now to celebrate this man rather than mourn him. Come to think of it, Madam Speaker, that contrary to our expectations, especially from communities we come from, Baba was very specific on the hours that he should take when he goes to rest. There is the talk of the 72 hours, that this is a man who wanted Kenyans to move on. That this is a man that wanted this republic to move on even as we bid bye to him. What more greatness can we observe in this man? And Madam Speaker, why I celebrate this man is that he preached that we should be united. He preached a unity of purpose. In his life, he preached to the people closer to him and by deeds on inclusivity, that this is a man who, given a chance, Baba thought about Kenya rather than think about the community from which he came from. Even when he had an opportunity by the governments which he supported to make appointments, we could only see a Baba that thought about all the communities in this republic. That reflected on his cabinet, if he were to have one, that he would actually have all communities in this republic be represented in his government. Madam Speaker, I celebrate a man who preached forgiveness, that he was able to work with both foes and allies. Madam Speaker, not many of us, after competitions, would even tolerate meeting their competitors. Come to think of it, Madam Speaker, a number of us cannot even accommodate people they imagine to be competing over very personal things. But this is a man who was able to take 2 steps back and say, Kenya is bigger than himself. He wanted to demonstrate that he had a cause in this country. Madam Speaker, I celebrate his tolerance and patience. I celebrate his standing out for the less privileged or standing out for the marginalized. No wonder in our party we talk about social justice. Madam Speaker, look at the constituency Baba insisted on representing in this republic. Baba is somebody who would be elected in any constituency, if not all in this country. But he yearly went to represent Kibra, Langata, the place where people think we have the downtrodden, because that was what Baba believed in. Madam Speaker, I celebrate this man, and I cry for the people who lost their lives during his funeral, because, Madam Speaker, no Kenyan needed to die, because Baba's death was equivalent to so many deaths, and that is why I'm not mourning him, I'm only celebrating him. Madam Speaker, I remember as I celebrate this man, the lifelong tears that dripped from this man all his adult life. Madam Speaker, what could be the symbol of these tears? That Baba lived his life crying for this republic. He was crying for justice. He was crying for all the downtrodden. But I'm happy, and I want to congratulate Kenyans for mourning Baba in a honorable way, that they came out in their thousands. Madam Speaker, I've never seen such crowds in my life. That they came out in their large numbers, but those were very peaceful crowds. So I celebrate him because this is a man who was honored in life, but more, Madam Speaker, honored even in death. We celebrate a patriot. I celebrate a nationalist. I celebrate a man who gave his life for the sake of Kenyans. Madam Speaker, I said he preached forgiveness by what he did. And I want to ask everybody in this republic that forgiveness is actually a strength and not a weakness. Weak people don't forgive. It is only the strong, Madam Speaker, that forgive. Madam Speaker, I know you want to guide me. As we celebrate this man, Madam Speaker, who gave his life to this republic, because, Madam Speaker, the family of Baba had long sacrificed him to this republic. But, Madam Speaker, let me come back to the bill. And I congratulate my leader, the minority whip, none other than the senator of Narok, and the Senator Kipsang, for the County Oversight and Accountability Bill 2024. That as a Senate, we can only enhance county oversight. That we must strengthen oversight, but even as we do that, my leader, I do not think it is for lack of the physical facilities that public participation is not done well. And so, even as we focus on the infrastructure of getting physical halls, Madam Speaker, let us enhance the bill in more ways than just thinking of counties putting up social halls for public participation, because I can see even the abuse most of them will do. From here, everybody will be putting multi-billion halls. Let us focus on the actual oversight. Let us strengthen the Senate in oversighting counties. And Madam Speaker, this must also include members of the public. We call upon members of the public that other than the stipulated oversight authorities like the Senate, the public must also be watchful down where they are in doing oversight, even as we improve efficiency and effectiveness in the counties, Madam Speaker. Let us be more objective.
Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m. time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Ogola, you still have 9 minutes when we resume. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 29th October 2025 at 9:30 a.m.
My work